Adult and Family Education at the DC Office of the State Superintendent of Education. We'd like to welcome you to our final PD Institute event focusing on Career Coach DC. We are so blessed to have Gabrielle from Emsi presenting with us this afternoon. I also would like to ask Dr. Heather Bruce to share some welcome remarks with you as well. And I'd also like to thank Stacy Downey for pulling everything together. Stacy is a member of the AFE team, in addition to Cynthia Brown, Nakia Lynch, and Tracy Richard. Dr. Bruce?
Hello, everyone. I'm Heather Bruce. I'm the Director of the Adult Education Program at the University of the District of Columbia. And welcome to our last session. Hope you will enjoy it as much as we have enjoyed hosting this for you.
Okay, we also put a note in the chat. Please make sure that you type in your name, your agency affiliation, and your email address in the chat so that we can send you the PowerPoint presentation and any other related information after the session is over. So Gabrielle, please begin. Thank you.
Thank you all so much for having me and making the time to make this presentation. I know it's your last one, so you've probably made it through a long week, but I am excited to share with you more on Career Coach and Emsi as a company and how we are involved with this. So some of you may be familiar already and some may be brand new to the Career Coach functionality. I am going to go through a PowerPoint. I'm going to try not to spend more than 15 minutes on this, but it will give you some great background on the tool, the company, and really the data that you are seeing within the tool, which is a huge portion of Career Coach is the data that we provide. So Emsi stands for Economic Modeling Specialist International. We are an international company based in Northern Idaho, which is why if you see the time on my screen, it is 11 o'clock here in this time zone. I am the account manager for this account, this tool, as well as many other tools we provide throughout all of the Northeast is my region. So based in Idaho, I live in Washington, and then I provide the support for the tool, updates to the website, and things like that. If you have questions during this session or afterwards, I'll make sure you have my contact information so you can reach out to me directly as well if that is convenient for you if you have questions. It is a lot to go through and a lot to see, so today we will be really scratching the surface. We are owned by Strata Education Network. This is our parent company. If you're not familiar with them, they are a nonprofit. They partner with a lot of different companies who are also focusing on that purposeful pathway and connection between education and employment. So how can we fill that gap? They partner with Inside Track and Road Trip Nation, many others, but those are some more familiar ones. And Emsi has been around since 2001, doing economics and data, continually building out tools to fit our clients' needs. Education is our biggest department that we work with, but we also work with talent analytics, companies like Amazon, Microsoft, and then workforce development boards and employers themselves. So all across the board.
Excuse me, Gabrielle. We have one person saying that they are not seeing the screen. Anyone who can see the screen and can hear Gabrielle, could you put a Y in the chat for us? And then I can, if that person will email me, I'll put my email here, then we can troubleshoot separately. I can resend you the link, or you can try going in and out again. Okay, so it looks like most people are hearing, so we'll work with the one individual. Okay. Sorry to interrupt. Thank you.
No, totally fine. That's great. Hopefully they're able to jump in. We have been in higher education for over 15 years. This is just kind of showing you we are economists, data scientists, consultants, software engineers, all rolled into one. Career Coach specifically is what we're going to go on from here on out. So why Career Coach? Why labor market data? We're going to go through these 5 different points, principles behind Career Coach, And then the two types of LMI, or labor market information, that we see in the tool. There is the traditional labor market data, the government sources, and then the real-time from employment. So combining both really makes a valuable tool for students and users to drill down into the data points they need to see. And we'll go over the strengths and weaknesses of each. And again, you're going to see this in the tool. So once you see it in the tool, it will kind of click and make more sense. But connecting your students, your programs, and those job outcomes as well, and you'll see this workflow throughout the tool. So how can Career Coach help? We provide data to students to help answer questions really either career or program related. So, down to what program should I even take? If I take this program, what might my job be? Who will I work for? What skills are those employers asking for? How much money can I make? What is the high end of how much I can make, the low end of how much I can make, and all within a very specific region. Oftentimes answering labor market data questions, especially around how many jobs are available or how much money can I make. If you're just doing a Google search, you're going to get government data that shows either at the state level or even the country level, really not breaking down further into the state, versus Career Coach gets down to the county, even down to a zip code level. So you can really hone in on, okay, this is where I live and how much can I make within this region? Am I willing to relocate, and questions like that. So looking at the data points with this, you'll see on the right-hand side, the people, education, and employers. These are the three connections we really try to make, not just within Career Coach, but as a company. This is our focus. We use data to answer questions and solve problems. It's easy to use and reliable. We update the traditional government-based labor market data 4 times a year. And then the real-time data is updated every month. And we are unsuppressing over 90 different government sources. So you're going to see that kind of in the tool as well. Why is it important for colleges to use data? Looking at specifically at Career Coach, and the reason we're really trying to hit on using this with students is the reason that students attend college. A survey was done, and most are looking to get that better job, make more money. Those kind of go hand in hand, as you can see with this graph here, really getting that next level job. And it's not always the first job. It could also be upskilling. So maybe they're already in the workforce, but they could come get a credential and now get that next better job, typically with that higher pay as well. Okay, so going back to now the types of labor market. Labor market information is all quantitative or qualitative data and analysis related to employment and the workforce. I already mentioned some of these points, but things like job openings, salary data, wage information, and then also the projection of, is this job growing? If I look out to 2030, what is the projection timeline, or is this an occupation that is decreasing? Looking at traditional LMI, I have mentioned it comes from government sources, so something like the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the BLS, QCEW. Really depends on how familiar you are with. You might be familiar with LMI, you may not, so I'm not going to throw out too much terminology here. And then that real-time LMI is private online sources. So essentially job postings and really gathering what do employers need, what skills, what qualifications, and then how your institutions train for that. It's like looking at 2 different types of maps. This is one analogy we have. They each have a different perspective. You're seeing different things from each type of data set. So if I look at traditional versus real time working together, it's kind of like looking at Google Maps versus a Google Street View. So looking at Google Maps, I'm able to really pinpoint exact locations, see surrounding areas, versus the Google Street is down to, you can see the trees in the yard and the types of flowers they're growing, more real time, but could be important to look at both of those depending on what your use case is. Now we're going to move into the core data points in that traditional LMI. Job counts tell us how many, so how many jobs are there, the earnings, how much are people making, and again, we break that out into a range, and then the job change. Is this growing? Is this declining? And we do look out 10 years on that number. What is a job? It is annualized. It is full-time and part-time. We are not separating those two. So that's an important thing to note. And it's also where they work, not where they live. Depending on where people live, obviously, there's a lot of commuters in the big city regions. They may live in one metro and work in another. And then we do include employed and self-employed. Certain industries may fall more on the self-employed. We're still capturing that job in our data set. Here's an example of job change. So in 2009, looking at 50 jobs in computer programming, up to 150 jobs in 2013. 100 plus jobs can mean growth, or looking at 2009 to 2013, losing 30 jobs. So that's kind of what we see in the data. The core data points in the real-time data points that we're getting from employers, we're looking for who is posting jobs, how many job postings are out there, and the specific skills for this occupation that these employers are posting for, which will all be connected back to the programs being offered. And then we see a trend line too. So you can see over time, are these job postings going up or down for this occupation? Can give an indication of, is this job in demand? Looking at government sources, because it takes time to catch up, you may look at computer programmers and see that there's only 50 jobs, but there is a new facility in town hiring computer programmers, it's in demand and it's a booming industry. You're not going to see that in government data until it's too late to really catch up. You're going to see the demand instantly in job postings. If you get a new hospital, you're going to see an increase in nursing, even though government data may not show that demand. So here's questions that are typically answered versus the traditional versus real time. What jobs are growing versus who's advertising jobs? What can I make in these jobs? What positions are they looking for? What programs will lead to good jobs? What skills are employers looking for? So really answering different questions, but these are questions that students and users of the tool often have, whether they're brand new out of high school or maybe already in the workforce. Okay, moving on to the three perspectives here, looking at the businesses, the occupations, and the programs. And you'll see where Career Coach really fits well into the occupations and programs. Within the tool, we do customized mapping of occupations to programs. We call it a SIP to SOC crosswalk. So SOC is the standard occupation codes, and then SIP are the programs housed within Career Coach. So making that crosswalk of, if I'm in this program, these are my occupation outcomes, or what I could look at into occupations, or vice versa. Maybe I know what occupation I want to go into, but I don't know what program to start with. Businesses are grouped together into industries by what they do or produce. So paper manufacturing, architectural services, hospitals. This is all within the higher umbrella of industry, but we break that down further into occupations, and you're also going to see it down into job titles. So machinists, software developers, registered nurse. This would be the job title portion, which most people are more familiar with the job title versus the industry or even the occupation. Looking at the programs, the fields of study offered, you're going to see things like machine tool technology, computer science, registered nurse. This is how you guys are classifying, or the institutions are classifying these SIP codes. So those are the three perspectives, looking at industry, occupation, and programs. Traditional LMI, looking at those government sources, it is highly structured. We can build projections off of that because we have a historic base to look at. So we can look back 10 years, 20 years, see what the job counts were, and be able to build projections off of that. Really covers a lot with the job counts, the earnings, the job change. It does lack detail. It lacks skills data. It can be outdated because of lag time. by a few months or more, sometimes up to 6 months, depending on when the government releases data. And then it lacks that employer data as well. Looking at real-time data, similar setup here, the strengths is that it does connect jobs to specific businesses, provides details on job descriptions, reflects current outlook and demand. So what is in demand right now, what is happening in this region? Weaknesses, it can have a small portion of the economy represented. Not all occupations have an equal representation online. You know, if I'm looking at tech and healthcare and things like that, they may be very well represented in job postings versus truck driving, welding, hairdressing may or may not be as represented as the demand actually is. So there's no standardized structure, and we're unable to produce projections based off of just job postings.
Gabrielle, excuse me.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm not sure if this is on my screen. I think it might be on yours, but so attendees are saying that there's a little bit of an obstruction on the screen. Is it showing on your screen that there's a little black box? Exactly, the black box that says SD. Is that better, Deneen? Can you just type yes or unmute yourself? Is that better for everyone? Okay, great. I'm glad that worked. Thank you.
Yep. So working together, the traditional plus the real-time data, you have a really solid data set to get the full picture. So quick summary, it's providing data that will help you answer those program and career questions that your students are coming to you with. And combining those two data sets in an updated, easy to use interface just makes it that much more efficient to connect your students to those programs and careers. I do have my email address right here. I'll leave this up for a second if you want to jot it down. I'm sure you guys have if you guys get these slides as well, you'll have my contact information. So if you do have any follow-up questions, and if you have questions now during this presentation, I'm happy to take those as well. I'm going to try to leave like 10 minutes at the end to do a recap and then have it open for questions. We are going to jump over to the tool now. So hopefully a lot of this, that again, it's very brushing by just the very surface level of the data and what we do, but it's going to make more sense now looking at the tool. So hopefully you all can still see my screen. You should see Career Coach up here. So this is the homepage. And again, some of you on the call may have already seen this, might be familiar with it. Others, this may be brand new to. So I'm going to work through how the tool can be utilized really for different types of students, whether it's a first time, maybe out of high school, has no idea where to start, or like I mentioned, in the workforce already, but they need to upskill. They know they need to finish this program, but they don't know if it's offered, where it's offered, or on the flip side, they know they're going to that program, but they don't know what occupation outcomes they may have in a specific region. So looking at the homepage here, I'm going to point out just a couple of things. You can do a login or sign up. This will capture profile data, and just to sign up, it's pretty simple, just asking for name and email, and then you can put in a current school as well. We offer a resume builder, which we probably won't get to that today, but if you have questions, I'm happy to take that. And then a few other tabs at the bottom, you have to scroll down to see there's the resume builder again. The veteran piece, this is specifically designed to walk someone through the tool if they are a veteran and have that background. It'll kind of sidestep some other steps you don't need to take to get you quicker to your results. And then we do have a quick, it's like a 2-minute tutorial on the platform to help students kind of walk through the tool and what they should be looking at here. The 3 main tabs are what we really focus on: taking the career assessment, looking at careers, or looking at the programs offered. So the career assessment is the John Holland assessment. And when I click take assessment, it will give me the options to do 6 questions or 60 questions. So again, it really depends on the scenario. Maybe you're sitting down with a student and you're just going to real quick go through the 6th question, maybe on their own at home, going through the 60 questions. Really only takes about 3 minutes on average, I'd say. and it's going to give you a little bit better results just because you're answering more questions. Either way you take, it is still directly from the John Holland. So if you're familiar with that, you may be familiar with seeing some of these questions and how they are phrased. Does not matter your past education or training or how much money you're trying to make. We're just trying to figure out first, what is your career pathway, so that we connect back to those programs. So I'm going to go through the 6th question. You would like to work hands-on with objects, machines, tools, plants, or animals. Work and play outside, use your physical or athletic abilities. And I do recommend, like, you guys going through this as well to kind of see what type of results you get. Put in your actual answers so you get a result that makes sense. If you put in wonky answers, you might get a wonky result. So I always answer this truthfully. Observe, learn, analyze, evaluate, or solve problems. This first one for me is a yes, but this second one, going more to the physical, biological, that's more of a no for me, so I might put unsure. Express yourself creatively, use imagination or intuition, feel free to be inventive without limits. I would say agree. Inform, enlighten, help, teach, counsel, or cure people. Use your skills with words to serve people. Strongly agree. Influence, persuade, lead, or manage. Reach your personal organizational goals. Strongly agree. And then work with facts, numbers, and details. Follow directions to organize, plan, and complete a project or task. Strongly agree. So it's going to give me my top 3 traits of the John Holland assessment with a pretty large description of what each trait actually means. So I always get the conventional, enterprising, and social, but going into detail of what does that actually mean is really helpful for the students to kind of read through and see that. You can also retake the assessment, you can save your results, or you can download. Oftentimes these are used even in the classroom, and students will download these results. Anytime in the tool you do try to save something like your assessment results, if I click on save, it will prompt me to log in or create an account. And since I have an account, I can just log in and it will auto-populate that for me. And now that will be saved to my profile. Okay, so going back, I'll get into the profile information later. We're making that connection of now the top career matches based on that assessment result. So I always get education and training as 100% match, and then business management and administration, really the careers that I have been in, and then finance, and you can look down the line. I do tell people, don't get too stuck on the percentages. If you see something that, is only like an 81, don't overlook that, because these are still very broad categories. Once you actually click into this category, now you're going to have a further breakout under this umbrella and what percentages you have there. So marketing operations is actually at 83%, and maybe that is something I would be interested in. So this is to start that career exploration of what will catch a student's interest, and definitely look through a few of these. And then when you do find something interesting, let me go ahead and go into that marketing operation here. You're going to get these now down to the occupations. So these are the ONET occupations. It carries over my percentage. You get a little bit of salary information, and then top entry-level education. This is just the one part of the data that is at the national level is the entry-level education connected to this occupation. Now I can look through these, and I can either click on this to learn more about this occupation, or I can save it and come back later. So I can just click that save button. It's going to save into my profile, which I will show you how to access. So maybe a few of these I have actually already saved in the past. Just doing some exploration here. And then when I see what I want to learn a bit more about, I could then select that and look at more of the salary, job openings, things like that. So I'm going to go to marketing managers, and I will have first the median salary, which is what you see on the initial page. But then we see the breakout of that low, middle, and high end earnings. So new workers are going to start around 87,000. That average again at 151,000, and then highly experienced at 302,000. So this is that range, which you often don't get if you're looking at state or national level data for an occupation. Looking at annual job openings, and I'll give you a brief definitions. A job opening is due to a vacancy. So think growth, turnover, that creates a job opening. So 276, again, all within the region we have selected. You do have to go down a bit to look at the region selection here on the right-hand side. So this will show you, this is defaulted to District of Columbia, but you can select a different region, and that is going to change all the data that you were looking at. So if I look at Montgomery, now I have different salary information, I have different job openings. So this is helpful for students who are possibly looking to relocate, or they are just open to going beyond just this county that they're in. Maybe they're open to going further out. So you can scroll through and see all your options there. Maybe they're from a certain area and want to go back. Or also now I'm working with a lot of clients who have more and more remote going on. So maybe they are taking your programs, living in somewhere in Virginia. They want to look at the jobs there in their region, even though they're not taking physical classes in DC. So just something to keep in mind about on that region change is going to see a change in the data. Now the next section you see here is available programs, and I'll get into that next, but first I'm going to show you all the different tabs we're looking at within just this career page for marketing managers. We're on the overview right now. We can look at the about section, and we're going to see the daily tasks. So these are the ONET directly tied daily tasks for this occupation. Gives them more insight into, okay, is this something I'm interested in, or do I want to maybe remove this from a possibility because that's not what I'm looking for. The national education attainment level can give them an idea of, on average, what do people have within this occupation. And then skills employers are asking for. So this is that real-time data set that we update monthly, and we're looking at within the region too, the employers who are looking for these skills, which is helpful because if you change region, even though you're looking at the same occupation, the skills could be completely different depending on where you live. And then coming back up, we have the wage data we had already seen, but this does lay it out in a graph format. So you can see down to that 10th percentile and all the way up to the 90th percentile and everything in between. It saves my region until I change it. I'm just going to change it back to the default. So we're looking at DC here. And then looking at employment, this will get more into those job postings. So this is really helpful to actually see the demand. So over the last couple of years, there have been over 5,000 companies posting for over 24,000 jobs. That can show you, is this in demand? What are my chances of getting a job? And what does that trend line look? From 2017 to now, is it going up and down? And 2020 is definitely going down a bit. That could also be due to COVID and everything else going on right now. But it'll be interesting to see 2021. Now, how is that looking? You're still going to see that demand, though. You're still going to see the companies posting for jobs with their number of job postings. So these are the companies you might work for if you're going into this occupation within this region. I should also mention, when we're looking at these postings, this is a deduplicated number. So we take the total postings that a company puts out, and we do a cleanup process so that we're representing one posting per job. So if Microsoft is hiring one marketing manager, but they post for that 10 times, we're going to grab that as one posting, so it's not an inflated number. So this is a deduplicated, more conservative number you're looking at for the sake of representing closer to the actual job, not just number of postings that companies put out. For that employment projection, this I had mentioned, because we have the government data, we're able to build out that 2029 right now. Over 10 years, what does this look like on a projection line. So you can see in 2017, definitely growing. And this is only capturing the government data. It's not capturing the real time. So, you know, there may be new companies that come into the region, and all of a sudden there's even more demand than just what the projections would be showing. And then we have live job postings. This connects directly to Indeed.com. So we are feeding into Indeed.com's API, which means we're directly connected. Anytime Indeed is updated, this is automatically updated. And if I were to click on Center Manager, this would take me directly over to Indeed. Let's go ahead and do that. I think my screen will carry over with you guys. So now I'm on Indeed.com, and I could further search there. So within the occupations, we are capturing the live job postings. And throughout all these tabs, it carries over my region, and it carries over this percentage match here. Now going back to this connection between the occupation, okay, now I know the wage data, the employment, who's hiring, what skills I'll need to obtain to work with these different employers, and then I want to know what programs should I look at, what connects to this occupation, and at what institutions. Now we have the available programs. So this is where a lot of the work comes into building the site of doing the mapping between occupation and programs, scraping programs. We have over 90 institutions represented in the tool. I think we actually have 99 unique IPEDS numbers. So we're capturing, I think it's 2,400 programs total. There's a lot of programs in Career Coach, all mapped to occupations. So you're going to see the actual programs and where it is offered. So below are the institutions that provide this program, and these are the program titles. So you can see there's a lot here, and you'll see, is it a master's degree? Is it a certification? Is it associates, bachelor's? If I want to know more about this program, then I can click on the blue hyperlink here. And now I'm on a program page of Career Coach. And there's a couple things I can do. This is a doctoral degree I can click on, but you can look at related careers and loop backwards and see, okay, this is the program also relates to these other careers. So marketing managers is the one I was looking at, but maybe there's 10 other careers now that I could also do, and it would be good to look into. You know, just because I'm going into accounting doesn't mean I have to be an accountant. There's 20 occupations I could do with that degree. So that is just something to keep in mind, and really broadens a student's sense of what they can do if they go to this program.
Excuse me, Gabrielle.
Yeah.
Hi, this is Michelle. Can I ask the person who's typing to please mute yourself? I can hear your keystrokes, and I just don't want them in the, if you could just mute yourself, please. Thank you.
Perfect. Okay, and then we have the tabs on program information and financial aid resources. These tabs are set up for every program page. And by clicking on this, if I click on view program information, it is going to take me over to the program page of this institution. So now I'm on the American University, their Doctor of Philosophy in Communication. So this directly is tying students from Career Coach to these institutions, directly to their program pages, so then they can apply, request information, find out more information from there. So really great marketing for the individual institutions to have this plugged into Career Coach. Same thing if I click on financial aid resources, it will open up a new tab and take me to their page. I'll close out these extra ones here. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the home page to kind of recap what we did there. So it's kind of a lot to look at. We started in the career assessment, just taking a 6-question quiz, which linked me to what career matches I had based off the John Holland. And then from there, mapping those careers or occupations to what programs are available at what institutions. And then from there, I could dive over to those institutions and look at those specific programs and see what I need to do for application or just learn more information about them. That is one way you can enter the tool, and you can see how it all flows together. You could also enter through looking at careers or looking at programs. So maybe I know what career cluster I want to go into already. And by the way, once you are logged into the tool and have taken the assessment, every time you click on careers, it's going to automatically organize by your percentage match. So it's really customized to the user of what they are looking at. If I was not logged in, it would be an alphabetical order. So I'd have like agriculture would be first. So that's another reason I recommend taking the quiz that is more aligned to you. But maybe I know I already want to go into the finance field, but I don't know what programs are available at what institutions. So maybe I already know I want to go into banking and that I want to be a credit counselor. I could loop straight over to this and see, again, the labor market information, but here is my options for programs and the institutions. So I automatically have that connection. Same thing on the flip side, if I am in a program or already know what program I want to pursue, but I don't know my occupation outcomes, will I have a job, how much money can I make, then you can start in programs and you're going to have a broad umbrellas here too. So ag is first, architecture, arts, maybe I know I'm going into business management administration, or maybe I'm already in one of these programs. So maybe I am in administrative supports here. I could click on this program page and now here's all the careers. So maybe I know I can be a customer service representative, but I don't know I can be a file clerk or just a regular office clerk, and then diving more into those careers. So we find students that are engaged with this and see their job outcomes. This is where institutions are using it on the retention side of keeping students engaged because they see the light at the end of the tunnel, they see what they could be doing, they see all the connections that the program has to the career in whichever pathway they have chosen. And then back to the homepage here. This is all I should also mention within the programs. This is where we did a lot of work on scraping all the programs from these different institutions. And then we have been working a lot back and forth on customizing the mapping. And then this can be updated at any point too, so that if institutions are changing their programs, adding programs, or removing programs, the interface, we can change that within Career Coach and keep that up to date. Okay, we're doing great on time, and I'm flying through. I'm going to show some profile data side and what that looks like. So I am already logged in. You'll see the profile up here at the top. You will not see admin. This is only for admin users to see backend analytics. So you can ignore that portion. You will not see that if you're looking at Career Coach on your own. But the profile you will have, and this is really helpful for students, whether they're doing this at home, working with counselors and advisors, or doing classroom activities, to easily be able to access this. So I'll have my contact information. This is all, it's not required to fill in, but I could put in my school, my major, phone number, address, saving my assessment results, obviously. And then looking at my career matches, I could jump straight to what careers did I match on from the assessment. And then I can toggle between programs and careers of what I have favorited. So as students are working with this tool, and maybe they're favoriting like 10 careers to go back and look to, they can easily reference that. It's difficult to do career exploration and be like, oh, that one looks great, and then tomorrow I'll be like, oh, what was I looking at? I remember looking at a career that I wanted to dive more into, but you didn't save it. So the more you can save, the better, because it's going to make it a quicker, faster reference for you to use throughout your career and program exploration here. With everything that is saved, all I would have to do is click on the blue hyperlink, and it's going to jump me straight over to that occupation page. But again, I have that salary information connected to the available programs. This is an instance where accounting is offered at many different institutions. So then I can explore, what is the best fit for me. Maybe it's just a matter of my location or something like that. But this is going to really encompass everything so the student can make the best choice for them. And then again, just remembering that region portion could be helpful and even important more now than ever of where that student is going to be working to see that labor market and real-time data. Click back over to the homepage one more time. So I had just clicked on the main tabs of the browse to jump in. You could also directly search here. So I could just type in accounting, if I can spell like that, and just hit search and it will jump straight over to accounting. So we try to make some shortcuts that if you don't want to necessarily work through, the assessment or jump through a lot of different tabs, we have the search icons also located at the top. So you can search and just do a drop down with careers programs, or if you're military, jump to the military. So just to make some workarounds a little bit faster for those students working with the tool that really know exactly what they want to jump into. So you do find a variety of students use this. Like I mentioned, they're just starting out or they're already plugged in, but just need that labor market data piece or just need some program guidance. What I know I've gone through a lot and gone through a lot quickly, but what questions, thoughts may be popping up? I'd love to hear from you guys, whether or not you use this tool, if it's something you might be using or could be helpful for other people you work with. I'm just curious to hear feedback and thoughts on this.
So please go ahead and unmute yourself and go ahead and give some feedback or answer, ask a question. I know one of the things that we have found that we really like is that you can self-enroll and you can create your own login. You don't have to have any administrative waiting, on us or somebody at your agency to put you into the system.
Yes, it is a completely open public site. So this URL right here, careercoachdc.mccc.com. You don't need to log in. It's completely free and open, not just to students, but to the public. So that is where the recruiting standpoint really comes in helpful with that.
Quick question, can you demo some of the job profiles that are available with less education?
So if you're looking at careers and you want to see something that is available at a different level.
Right. So most of your demo was featured programs that involved attendance at universities. Mm-hmm. Can you give a sample of some of the entry-level jobs for persons perhaps with just a high school diploma?
I see. Okay, so there's kind of two sides to that. With this top entry-level education here, we do have the filter on a so you can change it and see what is available. See here, you only have bachelor's. The tie of looking at the jobs though, and this is where we see a huge gap between education and employers, because this entry-level education is coming from ONET. So this is a government source and how they're tagging careers to education, but it's not an accurate representation necessarily of what employers are hiring. On the job postings, actually only about 30% of employers even list a level of education. So the sampling size becomes very small. First of all, you're looking at 30% of employers that maybe even list that they want associate's, bachelor's. And if they do list that, they're often not interpreting what they're actually going to hire, because many will post, we want a bachelor's, but they actually hire an associate's. So there's definitely some noise going on with that, which is why we do incorporate really the best representation is looking at the skills. If I'm looking at skills, oops, I'm on the wrong about here. Oh, tasks is also ONET related. Skills is the best way to drill down, but it is still not labeling this is an entry-level job. The entry-level language you see is around the salary information, how much they may be making with that 10th percentile. And even with that, we're looking at the low-end earnings, and typically low-end is new workers. So 10th percentile is low. So this is kind of an assumption as well that the low amount is the new workers. So it's not a clean cut filtering of these are entry level jobs, because we do have that gap between how education is labeling education to work, and then how employers are labeling that as well.
So I understand that, but you had, back to that screen, you had the checkbox in, I think, bachelor's degree. So I was just curious, if you clicked on the box that said high school diploma, how extensive high school diploma or less, rather than associate's, bachelor's, and master's.
Yes.
If you unclick all those other boxes and click on high school, then what?
Yes.
I can do it myself. Yeah.
Yeah. There's none here, because that's why the 0 is there. So if I unclick all these, it shouldn't show me. Yeah, it won't show me anything, because it's automatically grabbing where educational level is marked. And that's just because within education administration, the way ONET tags this is with the degree levels. They don't tag it with a high school diploma or less. So it's an easy process. You can see that there's like a 0, a 1, or a 2, and it'll automatically default to grab what career options are there. But that might be just something at Emsi we have gone back and forth about whether or not we should include this, because it is a little misleading and not necessarily accurate for employment. But it's one of those government data pieces that clients also like to see. So
okay.
Yeah.
My second question to you would be, if when you drill down to actual jobs that were found on Indeed, can the person save those jobs into their profile?
They cannot save the actual jobs, because you'd have to jump over to Indeed.com to actually view the job. And this is going to constantly change as Indeed.com updates.
Okay, but they could download the information on.
They would have to, if I click on this, jump over to Indeed, and then I don't think Indeed has any. Maybe if you sign in on Indeed, I'm not sure of all the functionality with Indeed.com. Indeed might let you do some saving features, but it would be separate from Career Coach.
Okay, yes. Thank you.
Indeed will let you save it on your account, but you have to create an account.
Right, with Indeed, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, good questions. I'm also open to hearing feedback of features that you think would be helpful that are not included, because we are constantly developing this tool and gathering feedback of, if the tool could do this for students, that would be awesome. I would love to hear those thoughts as well.
Gabrielle, Stacy, is there a way, so we have one of the Amazon facilities is opening here in Arlington, Virginia. And so is there a way to search specifically for, you were talking about how if you know that there's a new factory, institution, business coming to town, that's more through the job postings where you would see that, because there's the lag until people are actually hired and you see then the labor market information. But is there a handy way that we could go through and see some of the jobs that are popping up in that area related to the move in of that large business?
Yes. So I wasn't going to mention this because we don't have a timeline on it, but this is an excellent question, and I'll just go into it now. So right now, I know I just showed you that on the live job postings, we're connecting to Indeed.com. And Indeed is great. It's a job posting aggregator. It does grab a lot that is out there. We will be switching from Indeed.com to Emsi's only job postings, because Emsi grabs and scrapes all public job postings. So we're grabbing more than Indeed. So if Amazon fulfillment comes in and is all of a sudden posting jobs, we're going to grab that immediately, and you're going to see that populate in the tool if they have job postings related to the occupation you're looking at. So I think with us switching over to Emsi Jobs, which we grab a lot more than just Indeed.com does, you're going to see that quicker and faster. If you want to search if you want to search by a company and say like, oh, I know Amazon is coming. I want to see exactly what they're hiring for, what skills, what occupations, and just do more on the company knowledge. Emsi does do that, not in Career Coach, but it's in the analyst tool, which DC also subscribes to. So if you do, Stacy, I don't know if you do all this research or you have colleagues who do, I can connect you after the call because you guys do have access to all that data and information in different ways to slice and dice and see emerging jobs, employment, and see like, okay, Amazon's coming in and immediately see what jobs they're posting for. But we don't have that interface in Career Coach to be able to toggle just down to a company.
Yeah, yes, thank you. Yeah, we might want to do that with the adult and family education team. And I was just thinking about all the hiring that goes on when a big business like that is coming in. So there are also going to be, you know, again, we're in a pandemic, but normally there would be greater call for cashiers at the eateries that surround the new space, and just regionalize the search. But thank you. That might be helpful for our team to look at, and then if we pull relevant information, we could share it out.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, and it's also used. The other tool is used a lot for just adjusting programs to quickly adjust those skills as you see them populate, you know, and not wait for it to catch up in like labor market data. So there's definitely those use cases, and you're on the right track of thinking there.
Are there other questions that people have?
Can I ask a question? What is everyone's, what are your thoughts about the fact that we modified the program offerings to disaggregate them by the type of provider? So, you know, say for example, we now have information through the right-hand menu, you know, adult, all the different types of programs. You have the integrated education and training programs. You have the career and technical education programs. We were hoping that this would be helpful in linking district residents to the appropriate level provider for services, as opposed to, you know, just having the whole universe of program offerings. Has anyone used this function yet? No. Okay. Yeah, I was just interested in knowing whether or not you found it to be helpful.
Yeah, thank you for pointing that out. I totally skipped over that in the demo. So that is, I think it would be helpful. Maybe the more people start to use it and get behind this, the more they might find that functionality. It's one of those that kind of gets over there on the right-hand side, and you may forget to change, but that is something to point out, that not just the region, but you can look down to that education and training type. Right, and when you're looking to refer customers to, you know, OSSI, say for example, you know, to our unit, so that customers who are interested in improving their literacy and numeracy skills or working toward a high school credential, in addition to also wanting to enhance their workforce preparation skills and or earn entry-level industry recognized certifications, you can go right here and click on that to see, you know, where the programs are, which IENT programs they're offering. And then additionally, you can also use the data vault as well. And even when you're, after you've administered a career assessment to the customer, whether you do it within Career Coach or Virtual Job Shadow or using some other software, and helping them to develop an individual career pathway plan, you could use the information within Career Coach, you know, to help them to identify some of the potential either adult education programs or CTE funded programs for adults that they can enroll in, and then
also identify the associate level programs, et cetera, that could be part of their transition plan. And they can also begin to do some entry level research on how to connect to those programs. Gabrielle, we also included a link, and I think it's in the CTE option, where there's a link to financial assistance. Am I correct on where that's located?
Yes, so some have that. If I go to, I think I have to go back here. Oh, so I'm on the wrong. Start over. Well, let me just go to there. I can't remember which program is on because not all of them have that link. It was only, I'm gonna change this. Yeah, financial aid resources. Once you go over to the actual program page, you'll have the option of the program information or the financial aid resources. But you have to click all the way over to the accounting program page to see that.
So please make sure you look through those when you're, because that information is extremely helpful in helping our customers to understand that there are financial opportunities. Can you click on that? Does it link them to Mayor Scholars? I don't know. I can't. Yeah, Attain DC. So this, I don't know. This is a wonderful resource when you're trying to help connect students to scholarships and other supports. So I just want to make sure that you keep this on your radar as well. Is there anything about Mayor Scholars down there? Scroll down a little bit, Abby.
Yes.
I mean, Gabrielle, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Gabrielle.
No, I go by Gabby, so.
Okay, Gabby, okay. I knew it was something like that, okay. Gabby, okay.
It could be on another page.
Yeah, Aussie's Merit Scholars Program should be on there somewhere, probably under M. New Futures is there. You know, there's Aussie over there. I saw Aussie on the right above Posse. A lot of rhymes today. Yeah, yeah, that's a scholarship that's available even to adult learners who have earned a high school diploma or a GED within the states. I think it's the past 10 years, correct?
Yes, I do believe that's correct.
Yeah, that would assist them in getting into college. So sometimes that scholarship program is underutilized. So please keep that in mind, as well as all the other resources that that will help your customers pursue post-sec. I think it's important to keep in mind that organizations who are offering workforce training can offer the theoretical aspects of their program models at a distance. It becomes challenging sometimes to offer the practicum component of the workforce training programs at a distance. So some of them are strategizing how to bring, practice social distancing, use PPE equipment to bring, maybe 3 students in, or 2 students, or 1 student, or smaller groups of students so that they can demonstrate those competencies. But some of the organizations, the credentialing agencies have not yet come up with strategies to for students to meet those requirements for the certification. So I'm sharing this to suggest that if you're providing workforce training programs to your customers, and they're working on industry recognized certifications, but they already have a secondary school credential, this is an opportune time for them to maybe look at, also working toward the next step in the educational continuum. And that could be looking into enrolling in a post-sec institution, maybe taking, 1 or 2 classes, while they're, still waiting on everybody to figure out how to help them complete their certification program. I know we also spoke to the WIC about whether or not it's possible to work with some of the certifying bodies, in addition with the post-secondary education institutions, to see if they would give students some credit for life experience as a result of their participation in most of the training programs, even though the actual practicum component is still in limbo. So anyway, just some thoughts for you guys to really, really think about.
Cool. Yeah, that's helpful. That I hadn't heard about all that either, so that was enlightening for me.
Wonderful. Stacy, do we have any more questions in the chat?
We don't, but we have, if anyone wants to take this last minute and unmute yourself and ask another question. Otherwise, I think I don't see any questions here and we can start to close it out.
Perfect. Well, thank you guys so much for your time. It was great to connect, and feel free to reach out if questions do pop up later and you're working through the tool or need any kind of support and assistance. I am happy to help out.
Well, Gabrielle, thank you so much for facilitating this afternoon session. We really appreciate you. We look forward to offering this session again sometime during the upcoming program year for those individuals who could not participate. We'd also like to thank everyone for your participation in this afternoon's PD Institute session, and if you participated in the other 5 as well. We've already started working on the next series of PD Institutes, which we hope to offer in maybe September, October or so. And I'd like to again thank Stacy Downey, Cynthia Brown, and the other members of the AFE team, and Dr. Heather Bruce as well. Dr. Bruce, would you like to add anything to close out?
No, that's fine. Just to say thank you to everyone and to reiterate all that you've said. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a blessed evening, everyone. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.